Look at the headline shaping up the news conversation in the country at this hour, and among what we have lined up for you, including the orders that were issued yesterday in regards to the people who have been allegedly abducted by state agencies, as they have claimed. We will be linking up with my colleague JJ Kioria for that. My name is Njue, and Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter on the bottom of your screen. Many thanks indeed for joining us for this live newscast. Indeed, let's start from the Milimani Law Courts. My colleague JJ Kioria is keeping tabs with that case that is currently underway. Remember, the judge Bahati Mwamuye issued habeas corpus orders which require somebody who has been detained to be released or presented to court. But JJ, kindly bring us up to speed with what is happening at the Milimani Law Courts.
Good afternoon, Njue. This is the Milimani as expected this morning. Out of orders yesterday, Bahati Mwamuye regarding habeas corpus orders that required 9 arrests, include the Inspector of Police, Public Intelligence Service, as well as to produce the 6 abductees. Today not happened, and it now becomes what is next. First of all, Bentroy, let me explain to you that a habeas corpus order is the production of a person, dead or alive, but in court. And those are the orders that were issued yesterday by Judge Bahati Mwamuye. What has happened today, rather, is we've gotten more orders, but of course, the Inspector General of Police, who is the 9th respondent, and that is him in person, the Inspector General of Police, Kanja, the of contempt of court charges, obviously for failing to produce the 6 abductees before court. The orders issued today by Bahati Mwamuye include that, number 1, this matters, or the 8th, and that will be a Wednesday, but by Monday, every party should have filed its responses. But then again, the court will allow an extra day, that is on the 7th, for a rejoinder by any party that wants to do a rejoinder, including the interested parties, and then the matter will kick off on the 8th. But is that it will not be a day where people are engaged in debate over what is the substance of a law. To quote him, it will be an extraordinary day where likely even the 9 respondents will be put on the stand to testify on this matter. One of the most interesting thing, and probably a very emotional matter, is that the father of Billy Mangi, one of the still missing up until today, was in court and made a very emotional appeal to Judge Bahati Mwamuye for the production of his son, because he says his son disappeared. These cars were marked. They have even recorded the number plates before court, and the judge was able to write down that and the circumstances under which the gentleman was abducted as he waited on the queue to be shaved. And those are the circumstances under which he was abducted. But an emotional appeal really by the father for the son, because he wants to have closure over sense. The mother of a child could not make her way to the court because she's dealing with health problems arising from the abduction. But this is it. The news that are emerging this afternoon is that the Inspector General of Police risks contempt of court charges owing to the disobedience of this very order issued yesterday by Bahati Mwamuye. And of course, we'll be giving you an updated report on the same tonight regarding what is transpiring here. But in another court currently ongoing is also the plea taking for Busia Senator Okia Ometata, who was arrested yesterday in the course in the CBD as Kenyans demanded for the end of the abductions. Is ongoing in a separate court, and we'll be telling you the outcome of the same later on in the evening. For now, I hand you back for the rest of the broadcast. Back to you, Ben Troy.
Thank you so much, JJ, live from the Milimani Law Courts, and is keeping tabs with exactly what is happening in that court. But what we've been able to gather is that the IG could be in contempt if he fails to show up. Remember, he is among 9 respondents, him as an individual as well, in regards to the habeas corpus orders issued yesterday by Justice Mwamuye. And still on abductions, let's cross over to the great city of Mombasa. And for that, you do remember that there were protesters who were arrested yesterday in regards to the anti-abduction riots yesterday. And as I'm informed by my colleague is that some have been released, but let's listen in.
Mentioned on 10th of February for pre-trial. Is it convenient? Give me a date that week. Which date? Yes, mentioned on 12th of February before court. It's convenient, Ms. Makere? Before court 1 for pre-trial. Yes.
One surety each and one each to all of them?
No. Different. So 5,000 and 1 contact person. Over ID, different ID. Yes.
That happened moments ago, where Senior Resident Magistrate Rita Aurora has just granted bail to 13 protesters who have been presented to court this morning on a cash bail of 5,000 shillings and surety of the same. More on that in our subsequent bulletin, but elsewhere, Deputy Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli has urged Kenyans to share the New Year crossover festivities with the less fortunate and underprivileged in the society. Speaking during a visit to Precious Kids Center in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County, Masengeli also appealed to Kenyans to use the festive season to reflect on God's blessings. Precious Kids Center is a home for children with disabilities.
I wish each and everyone good and God's blessings. As we forge forward, let's be united for the better Kenya, because we need each other, and we pray God that helps us as we forge in the new year.
This is celebration time. That is Christmas, and soon we are getting into the new year. One thing that I've realized is we have children here who are very needy, and they need a lot of attention.
Elsewhere, Cambo County government is building over 20 new level 4 and level 3 hospitals, which once finished will increase the county's bed capacity by over 1,500. Level 4 facilities, which have a 200-bed capacity, include the revived Thogoto Hospital in Kikuyu and Rukoma in Lari, which was started in the year 2016, Bibirioni in Limuru, as well as Juja and Karuri in Kiambaa level 4 hospitals. The county is also constructing over 16 level 3 hospitals in Keganjo, in Kemenu, Thika, Kahawa Sukari, Ndeia in Limuru, Otheru, Gadhiga in Nyathuna, Kabete, Ndenderu, Kiawaroga in Limuru East, Ndumberi, Gishuru in Sigona and Kikuyu.
Nimejenga hospitali 6 ya level 4. Tuko na mahospitali sasa under renovation, 64 hospitals under renovation. Tumeweka hospital information management system na tumemaliza kujenga store ya dawa zote za kaunti ya Kiambu inakuwa hapa Ruiru, ndio hospitali zote zipate madawa.
We are also building new level 3 hospitals, complete with outpatients, with maternity wards, maternity theaters. We are doing 13 facilities just to make sure that universal healthcare, or UHC, becomes a reality in Cambo.
The National Biosafety Authority, NBA, has conducted public participation with various stakeholders in Machakos County on the new genetically modified organism GMO BT maize variety. National Biosafety Authority Acting Director Josephat Mushiri said public participation is a requirement under the Biosafety Act 2009 to create awareness among the public.
The engagement held at the Machakos Agricultural College brought together various stakeholders in the agricultural sector, including farmers. The new BT maize breed, according to the National Biosafety Authority, is resistant to pests like the armyworm and the stalk borer that affects yields. While some farmers support the introduction of the GMO maize variety, others are skeptical.
And this bacteria is supposed to be what? To be in the soil, not in the human body. Now, you're taking that bacteria and intertwining it with the maize. So, we have fear. Where is the fear coming from? Something that is not supposed to be in our bodies is being taken from the ground, where it's supposed to live, the soil. And now, in our bodies. So that's now where you see where the fear is coming from.
Tumekuwa tukipiga dawa na hizi dawa tumekuwa tukikula. Kwa hivyo kama tumekuwa tukikula hii dawa hata ikiwa ijamaliza zile siku zake, ninaomba tu kama tunaweza tumia hizi GMO product ambazo zitakuwa msaada na hazina madhara na zimepitishwa kwamba ile chekecheo zimepitishwa zote, zimepita hiyo mitihani.
Hii mahindi ambayo ni ya GMO ita increase our production, inakuwa 19% by 19%. Kwa hivyo whatever we are producing, if it's 100%, nikiwa ninapata gunia 100, saa hii ninajua if I use the GMO I will get 119 bags. Kwa hivyo on my side I haven't got no objection about it.
The new maize variety, according to the National Biosafety Authority, was developed by the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization.
This BT maize is a technology that is being introduced as an additional tool to what farmers are having. It's not the only solution to this challenge of pests, but it is one of the tools that Carlo have said they are exploring to bring to the farmers. So as a DBA, our role is to ensure that as that technology is taken to the farmers, that technology is safe.
Calling on politicians not to politicize the GMO issue, he assured the farmers that the seeds have undergone thorough tests to ensure it is safe for consumption.
You don't want to approve a BT as much as it is safe, but it's not able to solve the challenges the farmers are facing, including the acceptability of the technology, the access to the technology in terms of the cost of seeds. It must be in a manner that is affordable. And also the issues of freedom of choice. We want to have a technology that farmers can make a choice on.
Marie Ambo reporting for the Lunchtime News.
Now, human rights defenders in Migori County want the government to tighten legislation around cross-border female genital mutilation, FGM, to deter perpetrators of the act. The director of the Migori Community Traditional Negative Practices Mitigation Organization, Benta Odhiambo, Micontrap, the porous borders and deeply rooted cultural practices have continued to fuel the harmful practice. They also called for increased efforts to sensitize the communities on the dangers of FGM.
In Migori, we really need a lot of rescue centers so that some of these girls can hide or they can seek refuge in the rescue center so that they can avoid the cut.
I would urge our two countries, Kenya and Tanzania, can we strengthen the cross-border actions? If security is tight the other side, and again in Kenya, then we come together, then we shall win this war.
Switching gears to matters of politics, where a section of ODM members in Mombasa have resolved to revamp the party next year in a move that is likely to ignite leadership wars in the county. Newly elected ODM chairperson in Mombasa, Tobias Samba, who spoke in Mombasa, said the party will embrace new strategies that will end the culture of dirty underhand tactics, where winners in polls are denied party tickets which are given to politically correct individuals.
Tunataka ku-infuse new ideologies kwa ODM na tumekuja kufunga mwaka. Tumekuja kujumuika na wale delegates wetu wenye tulisimama nao wakatupigia kura, na vile unaweza ona leo hakukuwa na mambo ya siasa, ilikuwa ni tukuje tufunge mwaka alafu tujipange kwa sababu I think as from 2025 siasa itakuwa imeanza.
We are telling youths of Mombasa and Kenya at large tujitokeze na youths pia wachukue kura. This time we must change the narrative. It is the time for youth to lead this country. The narrative yenye tulikuwa tunaambiwa kitambo ya kwamba ati leaders of tomorrow ni youths, it is long gone, and we must protect our votes come 2027, because this time round it will be leaders only, youth lead peke yake.
On behalf of Gen Zs, we'll just have to request our party leaders, from the chairperson, deputy chairperson, kindly let us help the Gen Zs on this issue of abduction. It should stop with immediate effect. If not soon, then it should be with the soonest soon.
Very well, at about 15 minutes past the top of the hour on this last day of 2024. We take a quick break. We'll be right back with more news, including the latest in sports. I'll be telling you all about Manchester United woes.
Wakati mambo yanaonekana kwenda segemnege, sharti mkakati ufanywe ili kuhakikisha kwamba kila kitu kipo sawa kama sahani na kawa.
Unabati kuwa mimi ni mtu mpole na sipendi mshike.
Kati yako na mimi, ni nani anayemjua babake Masha vizuri?
Utepetevu na mahaba ya ujana yanazua timbu ili baina ya Pascal, Linda na Rama, vijana walioasi maadili bila kujali tago wala jando.
Hapa tunakupa vidonge na maji ya kumezea
katika tamthilia bab kubwa ya Lawama.
Napenda kutumia nafasi hii baada ya kuzungumza nawe kuwatakia Wakenya wote heri na fanaka za Krismasi, na pia tunawatakia mwaka mwema wa 2025, mwaka ambao utakuwa na umaarufu mwingi kwao na kwa jamii zao. Asante sana.
Welcome back, and many thanks for keeping it Channel 1. Moving on, Mijikenda Kaya elders in Kilifi County have strongly opposed Governor Gideon Mungaro's proposal to establish an industrial park in the Kaya Fungo forest, a site that is considered sacred for cultural preservation. The elders warned they would take legal action if the governor proceeds with the plan, as the 3,000-acre land is part of Kaya Fungo Forest and is used for traditional rites. More details of this and others in our county news roundup.
Mijikenda Kaya elders argue that the Kaya Fungo Forest land belongs to the community and should not be sold or repurposed for industrial use. The elders also emphasize the importance of public consultation before making such decisions, invoking constitutional provisions on public participation. Elsewhere, communities in Tana River County have been urged to preserve their traditions to safeguard their rich history. According to Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana, the county is rich in traditions that, if well utilized, can boost tourism, hence strengthening the local economy. He challenged parents to be at the forefront of educating the youth on their rich cultural heritage in the wake of modernization.
Tana River, utamaduni wetu ni mwingi
na ni mzuri kwa sababu tuko na makabila.
In Kisii County, a new group, Abagusi Ekebute, has been formed to promote and preserve the Ekegusi culture and language, which its founders fear could be extinct by 2050. The founders emphasize that the initiative is non-political and aims to empower the community to address its current challenges.
They are doing other things. Now we want our culture to continue from generations to generations. Since we are one generation, we are hoping the next generation will follow suit.
Meanwhile, the government is being urged to pardon inmates convicted of petty offences during this festive season. During a visit to Busia Prison, President of Life Source Society, Apostle Makongolo Sunday, called on families to take the lead, reintegrating prisoners by visiting them.
Raisi ana hiyo power ambaye anaweza pardon mtu ambaye yuko gerezani, na ikiwa anaweza wezesha jambo hilo kila siku za Krismasi, aachilie wafungwa wenye makosa madogo madogo, awaachilie, na pia aruhusu watengeneze vitengo mbalimbali ambapo jamii zinaweza tangamana pamoja.
A middle-aged in Busia County is seeking justice following the death of his 17-year-old daughter in what he terms as controversial circumstances. Emmanuel Barasa says his daughter Vashti Hainji, a Form 2 student, died while being rushed to the hospital after allegedly being punished by her mother.
Nilichukua jukumu na mandugu zangu, nikakuja nikaanza kuulizia kwa police station. Nilienda police station ya hapa, nikatumwa niende police station ya Adungos. Huko nilipofika wakandirect niende kwa DCI. Kufika kwa DCI ndio nikaambiwa kuwa Linet alikuwa ameshikwa na akaachiliwa jana, akuja azike mtoto wake. Mtoto, kulingana na ripoti nilipata police, mama alikuwa na discipline, mtoto alikuwa misbehave, na kwa hiyo njia mtoto akahaga.
Now, the untimely death of Chief of Defense Forces General Francis Ogola in 2024 surprised many. The general, who had just been promoted to the role months earlier, died in a helicopter crash in Elgeyo Marakwet, leaving Kenyans worried about the safety of leaders and the Kenyan airspace. Here, Tilio Marco will look back into some of the lives that were lost in the year 2024.
On 18th of April 2024 at 2:20 p.m., Kenya lost its highest-ranking military officer, General Francis Ogola. A Kenya Defence Forces chopper made a hard landing in Sindare, Elgeyo Marakwet County, also killing Brigadier Swale Saidi, Colonel Duncan Keitany, Lieutenant Colonel David Sawe, Major George Benson Magondu, Captain Sora Mohammed, Captain Hilary Litali, Senior Sergeant John Kinywa Mureithi, Sergeant Clifford Omondi, and Sergeant Rose Nyawira. Kenyans were saddened by the death of the military officers.
This is a very sad moment, a moment of great sadness. For me, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, it is a tragic moment for the Kenya Defence Forces fraternity, and it is a most unfortunate day for the nation at large.
In June, the country was once again thrown into yet another tragedy. 60 young Kenyans, demanding change and accountability, died under mysterious circumstances. Some of the deaths were blamed on the police. 26 out of 74 people who were abducted following the protest are still missing, according to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. The Human Rights Body also reported 7 abductions in December, bringing to 82 the total number of abductions, with 32 abductees still missing. The media fraternity was not spared either. The distinguished TV journalist Rita Tinina died of severe pneumonia. Mary Njambi Koikai, better known as Njambi Koikai, died of endometriosis. She was 38 years old.
For a new world record at the Bank of America's Chicago Marathon.
Kenya's world marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum also died in 2024. Police said Kiptum lost control of his vehicle and veered off the road, hitting a tree.
He was ambitious, disciplined, and focused.
In 2024, Kenyans also lost veteran Mugithi superstar Dick Munyonyi, famed for the timeless single Firirinda. May those who are still seeking justice find justice, and may the souls of the departed ones rest in eternal peace. Tilio Marco for 2024 review.
Indeed, 2024 has been a turbulent year for all those who lost their loved one. May they rest in peace. In other news, a section of civil society organizations has expressed displeasure over the cases of abductions in the country. Speaking under the umbrella of Kenya Njue movement, they say the trend poses a threat to democracy of the country and freedom of expression as envisaged in the 2010 Constitution. This as a section of parents and teachers in Nakuru County call on relevant state agencies to reveal the whereabouts of all missing persons in the country.
A day after anti-abduction protests, various civil society organizations led by Kenya Njue movement have added their voice to calls for an end to the trend.
The government has a duty to protect its citizens. Swift and decisive action is needed to bring the perpetrators to justice and restore a sense of security to our communities. Silence is the face of such grave violation is unacceptable.
The group says the cases of abduction are threatening public trust in law enforcement agencies.
The alarming rises in abduction across the nation casts a long shadow over our freedoms and security. These acts of violence, whether politically motivated or criminal, erode public trust in law enforcement, undermines the very foundation of our democracy.
This comes as a section of parents and teachers in Nakuru County also condemned the abductions, calling for investigations by relevant agencies.
Tuko na viungo ambavyo serikali iko navyo viungo vingi. Inatakikana ichunguzwe vizuri iweze kujulikana bayana wazi. Ijapokuwa kama hili jambo linaendelea ni siasa, hili jambo lenye linaendelea ni nini kinachoendelea?
John Kahiro for Lunchtime News.
In business, a 50% hike up country fares as families travel to celebrate the Christmas festivities, coupled with a slight increases in some food items, so the rate of inflation marginally increased to 3.0% in December 2024, up from 2.8% the previous month. The rate of inflation has in 2024 been within the government's target band of between 2.5% to 7.5%.
As has been the tradition in Kenya, there is usually increased travel during the festive season for families to link up with their loved ones to celebrate and make merry together. Latest data from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics indicates that public service vehicles capitalized on increased demand for travel to hike long-distance fares by an average of 50%. This saw the transport index record a month-on-month increase of 1.8% in December 2024, the second highest increase in the 13 broad categories after clothing and footwear. The KNBS data indicates that there were notable increases in the retail prices of food items such as maize flour, tomatoes, sugar, beans and sukuma wiki. Despite this, there were price reductions in items such as mangoes, potatoes, cabbages, onions and wheat flour. However, the price reductions were not big enough to offset increases, resulting in an average 0.7% increase in food and non-alcoholic beverages and a 0.1% average rise in alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics. In the non-food items category, there were increases in some retail prices such as electricity and rent, and reductions in the prices of petroleum products such as super petrol, diesel and kerosene. Alan Auko, Lunchtime News.
In sports, Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim has acknowledged that his side is in the battle for English Premier League survival after they lost 2-0 to Newcastle last night to end 2024. Ball in
from the Brighton left-hand side.
Chelsea and United defeated, but the Gunners play tomorrow on the first game of 2025 against Brentford at about 8:30. East African time. Well, that's where we put a cap on KBC Lunchtime News. This is the last day of 2024. I just leave with this as we head to 2025. I pray that you find a way or make one. And if you find yourself in the dark, maybe you're the light. Have a good one. My name is Njue. On the sign language interpretation, we had Byron Abuli, and wishing you a happy new year in advance.